और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में बहुत लोगों को रोजगार मिल रहे, मनरेगा के अंदर भी रोजगार मिल रहे। दूसरा तरफ जो गवर्नमेंट का सरकार का जितने भी वैकेंसीज है ये भी फिलअप करने के लिए आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने आदेश दिया है।
The mega Rozgar Mela, piloted by Prime Minister Modi himself, comes even as Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has made unemployment one of the top issues highlighted in his nationwide Bharat Jodo Yatra.
आज हिंदुस्तान में 45 साल से सबसे ज्यादा बेरोजगारी है। प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था हर साल 2 करोड़ युवाओं को रोजगार दूंगा। कहां गए 2 करोड़ रोजगार?
अभी हमारे जहन में ताजा है प्रधानमंत्री जी की वो घोषणा कि हर साल 2 करोड़ लोगों को नौकरियां मिलेंगी। और क्या बोल रहे हैं आंकड़े? 47 साल की सबसे बड़ी बेरोजगारी। तो ये मैं कह रहा हूं जब तक गुजरात और हिमाचल का चुनाव होगा प्रधानमंत्री जी ऐसे ही नौकरियां देते रहेंगे। अभी तो लाख पे रुक गए, करोड़ तक जाएंगे।
While government has always claimed job creation in the private and self-employment sectors, government jobs still remain the most sought for among the youth. Nearly 38 lakh people applied for the Uttar Pradesh Subordinate Services Selection Commission preliminary eligibility test held on Saturday and Sunday. Bus depots and railway stations across India's most populous states witnessed unprecedented crowds as lakhs of applicants moved to exam centers. Prime Minister Modi's Rozgar Mela is also a political statement. As the country heads to 2024 Lok Sabha elections, jobs or the lack of it remains the single biggest issue that has the potential of derailing the Narendra Modi juggernaut. No one knows it better than the Prime Minister. With Akshay Dagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
Is jobs therefore going to be the biggest issue as we lead up to Mission 2024? Is the Rozgar Mela of the Prime Minister game changer, or is it simply hype? Has the opposition failed to focus on jobs, or has the government failed to deliver on jobs? Are questions we will raise. Joining me now is Syed Zafar Islam of the BJP, its spokesperson, and Anshul Abjit, the Congress spokesperson. Zafar Islam, the Prime Minister announces a Rozgar Mela. Critics of this government are saying, we don't need Rozgars at the moment. First, at least fill in existing government vacancies. We've just seen in Uttar Pradesh for a few hundred jobs, lakhs of people arrived and crowded the center, saying that all these exams have been delayed and there are very few jobs left for lakhs of people who are applying for them. How do you respond? Is this, as the opposition suggests, another event management? Let's have a Rozgar Mela before Diwali. Let's first solve existing government vacancies, says the opposition.
Rajdeep, first of all, let me tell you very candidly 2 things. One, the government job alone will not suffice, because India is a big country with vast population. You need to create a conducive environment where private companies make investment, foreign companies make investment, and we are able to create jobs. Like Ati Shakti is an initiative. Government has taken various initiatives, and it will create not one, millions of jobs, both white collar and blue collar jobs in private sector as well. But this is something which is Rozgar Mela, with the Honorable Prime Minister is opening on 22nd, is primarily to fill up the jobs. Also, various ministries have come together, and wherever they feel that there is a opportunity for youth to be employed, they are offered to the youth.
But Syed Zafar Islam Sahab, the fact is that 60 lakh posts are reportedly vacant in centre and state governments at the moment. Sanctioned government, central government jobs, sanctioned 41.1 lakhs, filled are 31.1, vacant are 9.9 as on March 1, 2021. So it isn't as if this wasn't known. It isn't as if it required Diwali for the government to wake up to the problem of filling in these vacancies. This should have been done a long time ago.
No, it is always being done. Don't you see the number of EPFO? Don't you see the number of ESIC? Just see the number of people who have joined. Because see, unlike many other countries where on a real time basis you have the payroll status and you will get to know how many people have been employed. We are moving to, because Congress had never done that. We are moving in that direction where we will, on a real time basis, we will have the employment data, how many payroll status. But at least the agencies which actually people, the new employees have joined, like ESIC or EPFO, that number suggests that a huge number of people have got jobs.
You're going by, okay, you're saying go by the EPFO data to suggest that more jobs have been created. I just gave you the example on the ground, sir. Sir, I can give you state after state. If you travel to state after state, those are images I'm showing of UP people, young people going by trains and buses desperately for a few hundred jobs, more than 1 lakh of people applying for those jobs from the government. Clearly, there is a mismatch somewhere. So, Anshul Abjit, you've got Syed Zafar Islam pointing towards EPFO figures suggesting that there is an increase in employment. On the other hand, our anecdotal realities on the ground in any state of the country suggest lakhs of people applying for a few thousand jobs. So there is a mismatch somewhere. But it's not an easy problem to solve either. It's not as if in Rajasthan, which is your Congress-ruled state, one of the highest levels of joblessness is in Rajasthan today. So where are the solutions?
No. Rajdeep, first of all, you know, this whole idea is, I really dislike the fact that the Prime Minister on Diwali has turned this, what is a very grave and serious issue, into some, cheapened it to some kind of Diwali hamper, you know, some kind of festive offering, you know, that you come from season to season and you give something out and then you withdraw as if that is the solution to your problem. That is exactly what it is. And you said it rightly. It is a jumla, it is rhetoric, it is empty rhetoric. It is smoke and mirrors. There is absolutely nothing is going to happen to it, because I haven't even bothered to look at the details of what this offering is. It doesn't really mean anything at all, because our job crisis is a deeply structural one. It cannot go away with these kind of, you know, superficial announcements.
No, I have your number, though, but you know, I put before you the fact that in Rajasthan, among the highest level of joblessness at the moment is in the state of Rajasthan, ruled by the Congress for the last 4 years. So while it is easy to pass the buck onto the Modi government and say, what have you done in terms of job creation, in states where you are in power, there is an acute crisis as well.
There is a macroeconomic mismanagement of the job problem right since this government came in. When we were there, when the UPA there was a structural shift from the farm to the non-farm sector to the industrialized formal sector, and that created jobs. You could see that there were job creation because there was also capacity utilization, that there was industrial growth, and because of that there was demand. Those figures are right there in front of you. When that stopped because of bad economic policies of this government, and I'll tell you how. You give me a minute and I'll tell you very, very 3 important reasons. First of all, your concentration after you took over on capital intensive industry and not labor intensive industry. Then you got in demonetization that completely wrecked your informal sector. The informal sector, I might remind you, has about 90% of our workforce. When that is completely destroyed with demonetization, there is no hope in that sector at all. That is why in 2019, we brought up this issue and unemployment was at record levels. This is not a creation. This is not imported. This is not a creation of the pandemic or any other international crisis, which the finance minister wants to blame on and every economic problem in this issue. Where in this country at the moment, where it's the falling rupee.
You know,
no, let me just finish. Let me just finish. What happened during the ill-conceived lockdowns was there was a reverse migration as well. So there was disguised unemployment in the rural areas. That's why sometimes the government hangs on these crutches of these kind of figures, because there were low-paying, low-quality jobs that suddenly appeared because there was so much stress. People were willing to work for anything.
Anshul, you made your point. The point I am making is I am looking at the hard numbers. I am looking at unemployment at the moment in a state of Rajasthan. You are claiming it's a macro level issue. I will also point out to you, Zafar Islam, when you say at the outset it's not just about government, it's also about providing private sector jobs. Fair enough. But in government itself, PSUs employed 1.62 million people in 2019. It's now come down to 1.37 in FY21. So you're reducing jobs in government, but you're not supplementing them necessarily all the time with, private sector jobs are not the numbers show, CMI numbers show that the jobs are not being created to the extent which the government claims. I come back to it, I am only going by figures. Y'all are giving me rhetoric. I am going by hard numbers. PSU jobs down and private sector employment and rural employment at the moment is suffering.
Rajdeep, first of all, CMEI data is something I don't think that one should rely, because because you opportunistically use those data, sometimes you use it only to target. When the data suggests that you have an employment rate has come back to the pre-COVID level, you ignore that number. And when it actually shows little bit that unemployment rate has gone up, then you start showing that number. All the media people do that. You are not the only exception. Having said that, let me tell you a few things which is important. The Congress spokesperson was talking about creating environment. They were all temporary because they had distributed, they plundered the national banks and distributed money. They partly that they kept with them, and partly they distributed to the various company which never took off. But they temporarily employed people. But now where are they? Where are those companies? They had to lay off people,
Sir,
and all the onus is on to create. Just a second, onus is on to create both environment, create industry, come out with industry friendly policies, and also deal with the NPAs.
Sir,
Today we can say both. No, let me just
No, Zafar Islam, no, 1 minute. No, I won't let you. 8 years, you have now been in power for 8 years. What the Congress did, UPA did, they were punished, let's say in 2014 for all their various failings. Now we are in 2022. The fact is, in 2022, 8 years later, the center suddenly tells us it's on mission mode to fill vacancies in government departments and ministries. However, in several BJP-ruled states, Uttar Pradesh is ruled by you, several such jobs, vacancies, examinations held 3 years ago. The vacancies have not been filled. So all this mission mode has also, you've woken up also too late. You're waking up because you've got an election in 2024. And somewhere when Arvind Kejriwal came up with the Rozgar Mela, you said it's a Jumla. And when the Prime Minister comes up, they will say it's a Jumla also then.
Rajdeep, you are comparing the period during Corona. It has delayed everything. It's not only exception to India, but globally, everything actually had been pushed behind. But let me tell you today, if there is one country where the opportunities people see, it is India. We are creating enough number of jobs. We know that.
In 2000, unemployment was at record levels.
Please do not tell in between. So let me just complete, and you can please speak on when your turn comes. All I'm saying that you had shown the unemployment rate of 24%, 26% after Corona. Today it has actually pre-COVID level. It has come back. And we have created enough number of jobs, and the system suggests that the unemployment rate has come up. Secondly, in Manrega, the demand of Manrega has come up. How much commitment budgetary allocation was made during the Corona period? Today, he is talking about the rural area. Area, the demand for Manrega job is not there as it was earlier, because people have.
So the Prime Minister reportedly promised 2 crore jobs a year ahead of 2014. 2 crore naukriyan. What happened to that? Somewhere, what happened to that?
Let me allow to respond. ESIC number in last 8 years, 6.8 crore people have joined. Just take the number. Likewise, EPFO, crores of people have joined. Plus, we have created environment. Like, for instance, we have given loan to people to set up their own business instead of only looking for a job, because government has its own limitation, cannot give job to every citizen of this country. 20% of the world population lives in this country, and we cannot provide job to everyone. But we can create conducive environments so that jobs can be created for them. So and when you are getting loan from the government, 34 crore people have been given loan. By the government.
Okay,
these people have not only set up their business, but they have also employed people.
Okay, so you're saying, look at your start. Okay, sir, you made your point. My producer is saying, and I want to make that the Prime Minister never said 2 crore jobs a year, Anshul Abjit. He said that when I come to power, I will create an environment where 1 crore jobs will be brought into the system. Not 1 crore a year also. But 1 crore fresh jobs will be brought, is what my producer is saying was the exact way. The point is, Anshul Abjit, it's talk is easy. The truth is, whether you are in Rajasthan, your government, or Yogi Adityanath in UP, or indeed Mr. Modi at the center, job creation is not some magic wand overnight. Do you agree? To that extent, the Rozgar Mela should be welcomed. At least it will speeden up the process of filling up these vacancies.
You've cheapened the debate. The Prime Minister cheapened the debate by this Diwali offering. It's a grave and serious structural problem. By the way, job creation is not about ability and competence of individuals. That's a Darwinian argument. It is, I am repeatedly saying, it is a result of bad macroeconomic management. During the UPA times, he walked the talk. Right? Because there was capacity utilization. That's why jobs were being created, because there was demand. You could see it. That's why, a GDP actually went to an average of almost 8%
that was
for the past 10
2004
years.
to 2009. There was serious question 2009 to 14, but we can go on about this. The question is, we will need solutions, whether it's in Congress-ruled governments, BJP-ruled governments and the center. Whether a job mela on its own can resolve this, huge question. Whether this mission mode approach will yield results, we will wait and see. But I appreciate both of you joining us on that big announcement that has been made by the Prime Minister's office today. Let's turn to another story, and this one should trouble each and every one of us out there. Huge politics erupting over rape convict Gurmeet Ram Rahim's parole. Remember, it comes on the back of Bilkis Banu's convicts who were also set free. Ram Rahim, sentenced to 20 years in prison for rape and murder, was granted a 40-day parole last week. This comes as Haryana is headed towards an important by-election and polls are slated in neighbouring Himachal Pradesh. And therefore, questions are being asked, is all of this being done, including with Bilkis's case, with elections in Gujarat, with one eye on politics? Is that how government should operate, the criminal justice system should operate? This has become a huge political issue now in Haryana and beyond. Take a look.
Gurmeet Ram Rahim, a self-styled godman convicted of murder and rape with huge influence among large sections of society, is out on parole just days ahead of assembly by-polls in Haryana's Adampur.
मेयर रेणुबाला गुप्ता करनाल से अभी बात कर रही थी.
हाँ बेटा करवाइए.
Now, BJP leaders are queuing up to pay obeisance to the convict. The participants of an online satsang held by Ram Rahim from an ashram in UP included Haryana Deputy Speaker Ranbir Singh Gangwa and Karnal Mayor Renubala Gupta.
परमपिता मालिक से अब आप खुद मालिक है, वो तो आप जानते हैं कि कब वर्चुअल की बजाय खुद फिजिकल आकर के आप दर्शन देने का काम जल्दी करें. एक बार फिर से आपके चरणों के अंदर, क्योंकि मैं ये सौभाग्य मानता हूं कि मेरा तो संबंध डेरा से जन्म से है.
The opposition has lashed out at the BJP government in Haryana, saying Godman has been given parole with the eye on by-elections.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी अगर मुखर रूप से मेरे से सुनना चाहते हो तो ये बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ का नारा एक खोखला, एक नौटंकी, एक जुमला है. और बेटियों के साथ रेप हो, रेप के हत्यारे हो, किलिंग कर रखी हो, उनको ये वीवीआईपी का दर्जा देते हैं, जज सिक्योरिटी देते हैं.
The BJP defended the decision, citing legal rights of an individual.
सबका मौलिक अधिकार है. जो भी व्यक्ति है, चाहे उसको कितनी भी बड़ी सजा हो, लेकिन उसके बाद भी उसके राइट है, और वो अपने राइट को लेके वो कोर्ट के सामने जाएगा. पैरोल सरकार नहीं देती, पैरोल तो कोर्ट देता है.
भगवान खुशियां दे.
This is not the first time Gurmeet Ram Rahim is being released on parole ahead of elections. He was out during Haryana municipal elections and Punjab Assembly polls earlier this year. With Manjeet Sehgal, Bureau Report, India Today.
My first guest is Ranjit Singh. He is Haryana's jail minister. रंजीत सिंह जी, ये बताइए, ये क्या हो रहा है हरियाणा में कि चुनाव के पहले आरोप लगाया जा रहा है कि गुरमीत राम रहीम को पैरोल मिलता है. पंजाब चुनाव के पहले मिला, अब हिमाचल और हरियाणा चुनाव के बाई इलेक्शन के पहले. क्यों इनको पैरोल दिया जा रहा है चुनाव के पहले? वो रेप कॉन्विक्ट है सर, और आपके मंत्री वहां जा रहे हैं, डेप्यूटी स्पीकर वहां जा रहे हैं उनके प्रोग्राम्स में.
देखिए,
मैं आपसे कई बातें कहूंगा तो कुछ बातें आपको भी क्लियर होंगी, ऑडियंस को भी होगी।
जी
देखिए, सजा होके हम जेल में उसकी चार दीवारी में हमारा काम है उनके खाना देखना, उनकी सेहत देखना, उनकी सुरक्षा देखना और उनके जो जेल मैनुअल है उसके हिसाब से उन्हें अंदर रखना। उससे बाहर हमने कभी नहीं होने दिया और हमारे साथ उनका बहुत पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड रहा। जब भी बाहर गए आए कभी भी हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं हुई। नंबर 2, हर आदमी को 3 साल के बाद हम जेल की हम उसे नहीं रिहाई देते। ये कोर्ट करता है, उन्होंने अपना जो कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी है उनसे अप्लाई करा। 3 साल जब किसी की जेल हो जाती है तो उसे पैरोल मिलती है। बाबा का तो आपने चर्चा कर लिया, बाकी कितने लोग पैरोल लेके जाते हैं उनका कोई चर्चा नहीं करता।
नहीं, क्योंकि सर क्योंकि वो लोग वीवीआईपी नहीं है, बाबा वीवीआईपी है जिनको चुनाव के पहले 40 दिन मिलते हैं, पंजाब चुनाव के पहले, और अब फिर से मिल रहे हैं।
अब मैं कंप्लीट करूंगा तो आपको आपकी बात का जवाब मिलेगा ना। हाई प्रोफाइल केस का आप लोग चर्चा करते हैं, कितने लोग और पैरोल पे जाते हैं उनका चर्चा नहीं करते। 3 साल जिसकी सजा कंप्लीट हो जाती है उसके बाद उसका राइट है, उसे 40 दिन की पैरोल ले सकता है और वो उनकी ड्यूटी। उन्होंने, हमारा काम नहीं था, हमारा तो चार दीवारी में ड्यूटी तक उन्हें रखने का, उसका अंदर सुरक्षा देखने का काम है हमारा, उनका खाना पीना, उनकी सेहत, डॉक्टर का देखने का काम है। जेल में जब आते हैं तो हमें कोर्ट लिख के देता है कि इस आदमी को इस केस में इतनी सजा हुई है, इतने दिन, इतने महीने, इतने आपके जेल में रहेगा। उसकी हम वहां अंदर देखते हैं। उसके बाद जब बाहर से कोर्ट से कोई फैसला हो गया जाता है कि इसे पैरोल पे जाने दें, तो हमारा काम नहीं, हम ड्यूटी के बाद एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव जो भी आते हैं कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी जो फैसला करती है उन्हें।
सर आप कह रहे हैं ये प्रोसीजर है, सर रंजीत सिंह जी आप कह रहे हैं प्रोसीजर है, लेकिन जब चुनाव के पहले ये होता है, जब आपके मंत्री और या आपके बड़े आपके पार्टी के लोग उनके साथ शामिल होते हैं तो मैसेज क्या जा रहा है? व्हाट इज द मैसेज गोइंग ऑन?
आप मेरे से जेल मंत्री की और उस जेल की बात कर रहे हैं ना, मैं उसका रिप्लाई कर रहा हूँ। आप अपने उसमें मेरे से पूछे जो मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ। हमें जब उनके आदेश आएंगे कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी के कि इन्हें रिलीज करो, तो हम उसे कैसे रोक सकते हैं? वो कोर्ट में चले जाएंगे, हमें उन्हें पैरोल देनी पड़ती है। पहले भी तब पैरोल ऑर्डर आए थे हमें उनके अथॉरिटी के, तब हमने दिए थे, हमने ड्यूटी से बात दी थी। जब वापस आएंगे हम ड्यूटी पे उन्हें रिसीव करेंगे। हमारा काम इतना ही है।
ओके, आप कह रहे हैं ये बिल्कुल प्रोसीजर पर हुआ है और बिल्कुल कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी में किया है, आपका इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है। चलिए सर, आपने अपनी बात रखी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया रंजीत सिंह जी। Let's go to Shashikant, former DGP Punjab is joining me at this moment. Shashikant ji, you might have heard what Ranjit Singh ji there told me. He says, we are following procedure. The competent authority decides after 3 years, anyone is entitled to parole. Why only focus on a VVIP?
There are a couple of things on it. Look, as far as the Prisoners Acts are concerned, they are age old. Number 2, prisons are basically a state subject. Number 3, the state of Haryana had a Prisoners Act of 1988. It was changed recently in April 22. And in that, the provision, whatever the provisions were there, they were diluted to a great, great extent. These things notwithstanding, now coming to the other point, even the new act which is there of 1920 or 2022, that also says that the heinous crime prisoner guys undergoing prison sentence for committing heinous acts are not permitted, right? And that particular act of 22 also says that yes, this particular crime, rape, is an heinous offense, and normally it should not be given. So now let me tell you that all that provisions that they were diluted in 22, and I'm told that recently there was a communication between the legal department of the government and the prison department per se. Certain changes were brought in, about which frankly at least I'm not aware as on date, because I'll have to dig into it and get the notification, etc. But again, like I said, that I always said there are two things: what is correct morally, what is correct from public perception, and what is correct politically. I have been in the governments for almost 4 decades, and I have seen that how over a period of time, whatever the government wants, law is changed or amended accordingly. So we'll have to go into a detailed study of the 22 Act and then say, and again I'll say here, even in 22 Act, parole is not a legal right. whereas furlough is. There are two
Okay,
kinds
so
of remissions.
you're saying you're making that important distinction. It is not a legal right you're claiming.
No.
Therefore, the minister cannot claim that they have gone through a procedure and Gurmeet Ram Rahim is getting parole as a legal right. Am I correct?
But again, just one point. Like they are saying that certain changes are brought in, that a person who has been in jail for 5 years can be given parole. But I'm not aware of the latest amendments or changes. Like I said, that government changes the law overnight.
Okay, let's leave it there, Shashikant ji. Clearly, there are several questions unanswered. Whether these paroles are linked to polls in particular is a question that will continue to be raised, because these are influential figures like Ram Rahim who are then being allegedly used to canvass among their supporters. And the question remains unanswered. Why are so many political figures joining in the discourses of Ram Rahim when he is a rape convict? You are in public life and you are joining the public discourses of a rape convict. Thanks very much, Shashikant ji, for joining us there on the news today. Let's turn from there to our other special focus, our newsmaker tonight. Remember, cricket tensions between India and Pakistan are on the rise once again. A day after BCCI Secretary Jai Shah said India will not go to Pakistan for the 2023 Asia Cup, Pakistan hit back by saying they will not come to India for the World Cup next year. All of this is against the backdrop of the big match between the two countries that will be played this weekend in Melbourne at the World T20. Roger Binny, the new head of the Indian Cricket Board, is the one who is now having to clear the air regarding the current situation. And he is my special guest tonight, someone who has just replaced Saurav Ganguly as the BCCI president. 83 World Cup winner. Roger Binny, appreciate your joining us there from Bengaluru. First of all, many congrats, sir, on becoming the new BCCI president. You become BCCI president and a controversy has erupted. BCCI Secretary Jai Shah going on record saying India will not go to Pakistan to play the Asia Cup next year. Is that the official position we take it off the board, that you will not play in Pakistan?
Well, Rajdeep, it is not the BCCI's call, really. We can't take any decision. It has to be the government clearances. So as the BCCI, we have no say in the matter. We just go with what the government tells us what to do. So it's sad, but what can be done?
But sir, Pakistan has now hit back and says it won't come to India next year for the World Cup. Shouldn't the two boards have got together and found some solution? Are you saying there is nothing that you can do about the situation? It's only for the governments to sort out? The BCCI is powerless?
Well, but again, I think if the governments are happy with it, they can play. But if the governments are not happy, then we can't take a chance. I mean, always in India-Pakistan match, the whole country sits up and watches, So, but it's sad that it's not being done, but we can't help it. I mean, the BCCI has absolutely no say in this matter.
Sir, when you say the BCCI has no say in this matter, aren't you effectively therefore saying, you're passing the buck to the government instead of expressing your own personal view or the view of the board? What is the view of the board?
Yeah, that's how it's always been over the years. That's how it's always been. So we have to just follow what's happened in the past, Rajdeep.
But may I ask you, Mr. Binny, when you were playing for India, you were able to travel to Pakistan. Of course, relations were better between the two countries in that period in the early 80s. And the teams in particular seem even now to get along rather well. The players don't seem to be affected, would you agree, by all the noise around them?
Well, but always the players are very friendly. I mean, when we played too, we always had great company with the Pakistani players. The players are very, very friendly. But anyway, it's sad that nothing can go beyond that.
But at one level, will this spat between the two boards affect the players in any way ahead of the big match on Sunday? Will it add to the pressure in some way, Mr. Binny, that the players already are under?
I don't think it's affected, though it's affected the public, but I don't think it's affected the cricketers. I mean, these things will be spoken, but you can't blame the cricketers for it. You can't blame the BCCI. So it's just something which you have to just take in our stride.
But I must ask this, rather than make public statements as Jai Shah did, could this not have waited a while to try and find a way out? Maybe look to play perhaps at more neutral venues between India and Pakistan and try and do this in in a less tu-tu meh public manner?
No, see these in the past things like this, when India were to host the last Asia Cup, the one before this, we didn't do it. We gave it to the UAE to do. So because of the Pakistan team couldn't come in over here. So we did, probably it's the same thing. We can't change things overnight. It'll have to take some more time, and when the time is right, then we'll start playing Pakistan again.
But let me for a moment therefore look ahead to the game that's taking place on Sunday, the big India-Pakistan game that everyone is looking forward to. When we last played them last year in Dubai at the T20 World Cup, we were badly beaten. This time on Australian soil, are we the favourites? Is it advantage India?
Well, I tell you, see, India don't have the underdog tag anymore. Now they're all favourites. So every game they go into, they are favourites. And I think a T20 game is how you play that moment. But here I don't think the toss will play that big a part like what it did in Dubai and in the previous T20 matches. So this is definitely going to be a game where the pitches are going to be good, and I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game to watch, and I'm looking forward to it.
What about though the pressure? Is that going to be the key factor in a game against Pakistan? Who handles all this external noise that's going on around us, the hype around the game?
I don't. The players didn't really. Once we got on the field, there was absolutely no pressures at all. We just played like another match. Of course, we played with a little more intensity. But I don't think the players really will miss out on this. I mean they're basically following what the orders are.
Are you telling me that India versus Pakistan isn't, Mr. Binny, about who handles pressure best?
Well, I don't. I mean the pressure's built up outside the team. I think it's not really the team really doesn't suffer from that. There's a lot of hype. I think it's the public that builds up this pressure, because they are more tense than the players if you see from the outside, So I think it's all very well for the public to get behind the players and try and get them to do well.
Do you have a favourite India-Pakistan cricket moment from your distinguished career, Roger Binny?
Well, I think surely it has to be the Bombay Test match when India beat Pakistan in Mumbai, and this is the first time I met the great singer Lata Mangeshkar, which I was very happy, and those memories still linger with me. That was one of our best Test matches that we played.
I remember you getting Zahir Abbas clean bowl. That was 1979 in that test match in Mumbai that you just spoke about. But let me turn back to the present. The pressure you now face as BCCI president taking over from Saurav Ganguly, is this going to be a very different kind of challenge, especially some would say to handle the board's politics?
Well, it's also, you put it this way, I played the game. I know exactly what's required. I mean, I've travelled through India. I've travelled through all the facilities, to the infrastructure, to seeing the players. I've seen cricket over the last 30, 40 years. The way it's changed. So, but it's basically it's not really pressure, but it's something which I'm looking forward to doing and working with.
But what are your top 3 priorities, Roger Binny, as BCCI president? If I were to ask you to list them out today.
Well, the number one definitely would be injuries of players, to see how we can slow that down, try and see where can we step in and try and make the players more comfortable and not get injured so easily and so quickly. That would be the priority for us. Second, I think, would be for the wickets. Our wickets are too docile, they're too batsman oriented. They need to be 50-50. The batsman and the bowler should have equal opportunity. Because when we go abroad, things will change. We'll be able to settle down and adapt to the wickets much quicker than we normally do. Otherwise, it's good. It takes us weeks to get to the venue and then get used to pitches. By the time we pass the first test match or the second test match. So I think that is important. We're going to look at that. Then we could also look at the players, not the Ranji Trophy players, but the players before that. Those who didn't make it up to the state teams and to the national teams, some of them are not in a very good position. So that they can, or for a person who's played one Ranji Trophy match or two Ranji Trophy matches, he should be getting something to take care of himself. Probably his medication can be taken care of, something which can help the family. So we also looking at that.
I'm glad you're putting these priorities that put players first. You've also been, Mr. Binny, part of a major tournament win in Australia in 1985. What do you think is the key to winning this T20 World Cup in Australia? What will make the difference?
Well, I think at the end of the day it's got to be the bowlers. You see, the faster bowlers are the ones that are going to do that. And I think it's not going to be easy like the way you bat in the subcontinent. Because, like I said, there will be something for the bowlers too in it. I think if the fast bowlers who can control the 14th to the 20th over, they're going to be the winners. That's where most of the runs are leaked in all the matches.
Interesting. In conclusion, I know you love your golf, you love your fishing. How are you going to fit all that in with being a BCCI president at the moment?
No, there are golf courses in Mumbai, there are golf courses in Delhi, there are golf courses in Ahmedabad. So I will carry my golf set along with me and play. Maybe fishing may take a background. I will get some opportunity somewhere.
I'm sure you will. Let me ask you in conclusion, a message for cricket fans like me. How are you going to be different from past BCCI presidents? What is the Binny model going to be?
Well, I would like to tell him that I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be the president of the BCCI. Never in my dreams that I thought I would reach the stage. I dreamt only cricket when I was playing. I dreamt I would play. I had to play for India. That was my main dream. So I'm very happy and thrilled, and I look forward to serving cricket in a big way.
I look forward to, of course, having more conversations with you on the game. Roger, Binny, you've been a great figure of Indian cricket, particularly that 83 World Cup victory, highest wicket taker. Appreciate your joining us and all the very best in your new challenge. Thanks very much for joining me. Good to have all the newsmakers do their first interviews here on the news today. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll bring you our Get Real India story and our good news story. The good news story comes from Gorakhpur. More on the other side.
I don't read the news. I read between the lines to tell you the true version of events, the true story of our times.
To document grief, the toughest assignment for any journalist to be.
From those who matter.
Women politicians going to stick up for each other.
Of those who should matter. I document the truth. I don't distort the truth. I don't glamorize the truth. I don't gloss over the truth.
The ghosts of India's contentious medieval history have come knocking again.
I hustle for the truth. On the ground, in the newsroom, in the studio. I don't try to grab eyeballs.
I inform you to make you see the point.
To the Point with Preeti Chaudhary. At these times, only on India Today.
Is the monsoon season bringing relief to you from the hot summers? Well, what if we tell you that it can rain diamonds? Not certainly on Earth, but yes, it is raining diamonds on Uranus and Neptune. The temperature and pressure conditions on these planets are extreme. Due to this, carbon atoms can be crushed into diamonds. Uranus and Neptune are known by their unique blue shades. Both planets have a common condition to harden carbon atoms. But unfortunately, the inhospitable environment of the planet won't allow you to collect those diamonds. The blue color of these planets is due to methane. Methane has carbon in it. The carbon can be crushed by immense pressure that happens in the atmosphere. And when it gets hot and dense inside the planets, These diamonds are formed and accumulated. This causes them to rain in the atmosphere. Tell us what you think about this unique phenomena.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail.
Welcome back. Let's turn to our Get Real India story. A mosque in Gurugram was targeted a week ago. The suspects in the case are still at large. But what has happened is communal tension, not too far away from the national capital. India Today's Shreya visited the village again to get the inside story. What she found was fear in the air. Tonight's ground report comes from Gurugram.
A small mosque in Gurugram's Gorakhpur village was vandalized on October 12. A mob allegedly entered the premises and disrupted the namaz that was on. While an FIR was filed, the Hindu and Muslim communities reached a compromise. A week later, not many are willing to speak about what transpired that day. India Today reached out to the complainants, but they were not forthcoming anymore.
अभी क्या हमारा फैसला हो गया कोई बात नहीं हमारी कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है हर एक की बात दोहराते हम बहुत पागल हो चुके हैं मतलब और एक हफ्ता उस बात को हो चुका है
2 days after the alleged incident took place and an FIR was registered, the villagers called for a panchayat meeting. In the panchayat, it was agreed that the Muslims will give in writing they don't want any police action as the issue has been resolved. Out of the 304 families living in Gorakhpur village, only 4 families are Muslims. There is mistrust and fear among them.
अब आप एक चीज देखो पूरे गांव में 2 आदमी पे क्या चलेगा एक चीज देखो कमजोरी है जब तो चल रहा है जब तो मार के चले गए थे डर तो रह गई जब तक जिएंगे जब तक डर रहेगा अब आप एक चीज करो मान लो कभी भी किसी साथ आपके साथ दंगा हो जाता है लड़ाई झगड़ा तो आप चल रहे हो लेकिन दिल में 1% डर तो रहेगा.
The FIR is filed under stringent laws for charges like rioting and causing religious strife, but no arrests have happened so far.
उसमें कुछ लोग बताए गए हैं तो उनके बारे में अभी इंफॉर्मेशन इकट्ठी की जा रही है और जो भी इसमें शामिल होंगे उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई की जाएगी.
One of the accused who the police are searching for is Rajesh Chauhan alias Babbu. India Today tracked down Chauhan, who is busy preparing for the upcoming Sarpanch elections.
2013 में क्या हुआ कि गांव में कोई मस्जिद नहीं थी और कोई मस्जिद ना होते हुए इन्होंने एक ढांचा तैयार करा गांव की पंचायती जमीन में और उसमें कहा कि भाई ये मस्जिद है और इन्होंने मस्जिद का जामा मस्जिद बनाने की कोशिश करी. गांव की कुछ बाहरी ताकतें हैं जो हमारे गांव में माहौल को खराब करना चाहती है.
Apart from Rajesh, the FIR also names Anil Bhadoria, Sanjay Vyas and several others. Some Hindu residents in the area claim the scene of the communal flare-up is not a mosque, but it was being used to offer namaz in recent times.
India Today tracked down one of the main accused, Rajesh, who's been mentioned in the FIR. Turns out that he's running and campaigning for the upcoming Sarpanch elections, giving us a very crucial question that what is the law and the authorities doing when it comes to taking action against such incidents so that they are not repeated in the near future. With video journalist Nasir, this is Shreya Chatterjee for India Today.
Get Real India. The last thing we need is more communal trouble. Let's turn to our good news story. It comes from Gorakhpur, where self-help groups are helping in empowering the Vantangia community of Gorakhpur, which is considered to be one of the most backward and deprived. From making loans easily accessible to helping them set up their own businesses, they are bringing change in the lives of the community. Tonight's Good News Today story.
The Vantangias, a backward and deprived community of India. Brought to India for afforestation activities from Myanmar by the British, the community used to be forest dwellers. Jyoti works among the Vantangias to ensure they can make the most of government welfare schemes. One of the many Samu Sakhis, Jyoti also helps women in applying for bank loans for self-employment.
3 दिन का ट्रेनिंग दिया गया, कैसे सम की बचत जमा कराना है, कैसे रजिस्टर वगैरह मेंटेन कराना है। वहाँ से गए, नॉलेज लिया, जो वही नॉलेज लेकर मैं मीटिंग कराती हूँ। एक महिलाएं 5-5 हज़ार बचत जमा कर चुके हैं, अभी तक लिए नहीं हैं। बाकी लोन का लेन देन होता रहता है। बैंक वाले तो पहले सुनते नहीं थे, अब जाते हैं हम लोग, तो हमारा काम करिए तो करना है उनको।
From running general stores to tailor shops, today women from the community are self-reliant.
हम लोन लेके दुकान बढ़ाएं, ओकर बस समूह सखी से का नाम हो ज्योति मिलके हम लोग अपन आगे धंधा करें। आज जोगी जी घर दे दिए, ओकर बस रोड दे दिए, लाइन दे दिए, हम के यही काम हो गया, बहुत काम हो गया।
हर अधिकारीगण भी उठी कर रहे हैं हम लोग के विषय में। हम लोग को 100 पीस भी मिला है, इसलिए काम करने के लिए हम लोग समय से उनको काम करके दे देंगे। 4 पैसा हम लोग को भी मिलेगा, हमारे बाल बच्चों को मिलेगा, और जैसे ज्योति समूह से हैं लोग, वो लोग हमारे लिए बहुत मदद करती हैं।
Not just women, Jyoti is also helping underprivileged people of a community in their uplift. Bureau Report, India Today.
Good story there. We packed quite a lot of stories tonight on the news today. Let me leave you with our image tonight, because even during a political and economic crisis, the British humour is intact. An English publication, the Daily Star, started a live stream a week ago where it placed a lettuce next to a picture of Liz Truss with the caption, "Can Liz Truss outlast this lettuce?" Finally, on day 7, Lizzie, the lettuce, has outlasted the UK Prime Minister. And guess what? Here's a WhatsApp I've been sent. My son has lived through 4 chancellors, 3 home secretaries, 2 prime ministers and 2 monarchs. He's only 4 months old. Lots of jokes on the good old Brits for a day. Thanks for watching. You stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Do the rising petrol prices and inflation scare you? How much do you earn in a month? Well, the World Inequality report will knock your socks out. And why? Because it says India stands out as a poor and unequal country with an affluent elite population. 15% of Indians earn less than rupees 5,000 every month, while 22% of the national income goes to the 1% rich community. The report flags a drop in global income during 2020, with about half the dip in rich countries and half in low income and emerging countries. Are we living in the prime of inequality? In 2019 and 20, among different employment categories, the highest percentage was of self-employed workers, which was 45.78%, followed by regular salaried workers 33.5% and casual workers 20.71%. Self-employed workers also belong to the lowest income categories. The report pegged the country's unemployment rate at 4.8% for 2019 and 20, and the worker population ratio at 40.